how this race shakes out. All right, following it all very closely here on Live and Now from Fox. I do want to describe another developing story as Turning Point USA. They have a new leader, but a familiar...
What's up, everyone? I'm Joseph. Glad you're here. We aren't going to waste any time today because the information coming out right now is moving faster than the official narrative can keep up with. Before we dive into the deep end of this, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. You need to be here for every update because the showroom is starting to crack. And as we go through this, I want you to comment below. At what point does a private life become a public deception? Let's get into it. I was genuinely interested when some people who are actually in the inner circle reached out to me. They aren't just random accounts. They are people who see the transition of power and the transition of the household up close. The internet is absolutely spiraling because just when people thought the Erica Kirk conversation couldn't get any messier, Candace Owens has gone and leaked the identity of the new man in Erica's life. And it's not just some random guy she met at a gala. Candace revealed that this man is a childhood friend of her late husband, Charlie Kirk. Let that sink in for a second. We aren't even a year out from the assassination at UVU, and a childhood friend of the man who built the empire has reportedly moved into the very home Erica shared with Charlie. But it's not just the speed of the move that has people feeling uneasy, it's the details coming out of the house. There are allegations, serious ones, that Erica is already encouraging her children to call this man Daddy. We are talking about children who are still processing the trauma of their father being taken from them in a public, violent way, and now they are reportedly being pushed to replace him in their vocabulary before the ink is even dry on the investigation. Reports say the kids are confused, they're struggling, and they are caught in the middle of a rapid change that feels more like an erasure of Charlie than a new chapter for the family. The deepfake distraction. Now, Erica's camp knew this was coming. They tried to control the narrative before it broke, but they did it in the most suspicious way possible. They released what was quickly identified as a disproven AI or deepfake photo. Initially, they tried to act like it was a leak from enemies, but digital sleuths traced the origin of that fake photo back to her own supporters. It was a distraction, a classic move to flood the zone with fake news so that when the real truth comes out, people don't know what to believe. But the truth has a way of showing up on camera. Viral video footage from a public event has surfaced, and it doesn't need AI to tell the story. It shows Erica appearing intimately comfortable, cozy, and, frankly, beyond just friends with this mystery man. And this was just months after Charlie's death. It's one thing to move on. It's another to perform intimacy in public while the world is still mourning the man who gave you that platform. A pattern of close friends. This follows a disturbing pattern that we've seen before. Remember Cabot Cat Phillips? Another ex-boyfriend of Erica's who, you guessed it, was a close friend of Charlie's. Cat has since assumed many of Charlie's former roles at TPUSA. It's like there's a revolving door of Charlie's friends moving into his professional and personal life, and Erica is the one holding the door open. Why is it always the friends? Why does the succession of power in both the office and the bedroom look like a strategic handoff? And look, we have to talk about the chaste era myth. Erica has made a massive part of her brand about living a chaste, single life in New York for 5 years before she met Charlie. She sold it as a testimony of faith and patience. But the receipts don't lie. Social media archives have been pulled, and they show a very different story. They show relationships with multiple men during that time frame, including high-profile athletes like Josh Harrelson. Sis was not sitting in a chapel waiting for a sign. She was living a life that contradicts the very testimony she used to build her public platform. The metadata problem. It makes you look at the evidence her team does provide in a different light. One piece of alibi evidence, a photo meant to prove her location during a critical window, was put under the microscope. The metadata in that photo completely contradicted the date it was supposed to support. It wasn't just a mistake, it looked like intentional misinformation. It raises the question, why is the team so focused on steering attention away from the truth? Why are they so desperate to dodge questions about her alleged presence at Fort Huachuca or her movements in September 2025? The investigation suggests that Erica's team isn't trying to clarify anything. They are performing narrative surgery. They are trying to cut out the parts of her past and her current behavior that don't fit the showroom aesthetic. But the core issue here isn't just about who she's dating. If she wants to move on, that's her right. The issue is the demonstrated pattern of secrecy, the manipulation of public perception, and a total disregard for personal boundaries that is now impacting her own flesh and blood. The human cost. The emotional welfare of those children has become the central point of concern for everyone watching this unfold. They are being managed like assets in a PR campaign rather than kids who lost a father. When you're pushing a new daddy narrative while the metadata on your alibis is failing, you aren't protecting a family, you're protecting a brand. This isn't just a scandal, it's a systematic dismantling of a legacy in real time. Erica Kirk has gone from beauty queen to faith leader to the person running a multi-million-dollar political machine, but the foundation of that rise is looking more and more like a series of mind war maneuvers. As Candace Owens continues to peel back the stickers, we have to ask, what happens to the organization when the base realizes the woman at the top hasn't been moving like someone who's quietly grieving? The mind war of perception. We have to understand that in the world of Tpuza, perception is reality. If you can control the images, you can control the mind. That is the core of the mind war doctrine we've discussed before. Erica isn't just a person, she's a vessel for an ideology that prizes image over substance. But when that image starts to conflict with the raw data, the metadata, the social media receipts, the viral videos, the cognitive dissonance becomes too much for the base to handle. I told y'all, she's not grieving, she's glowing. And she's laughing all the way to the bank while Charlie's friends move into his office and his bedroom. It's a takeover hidden behind a veil of mourning. They are using the children's confusion as a buffer against criticism, and they are using AI distractions to muddy the waters of the truth. But the truth doesn't need a PR team. It doesn't need metadata editing. It just is. And right now, the truth is that the showroom is empty, and the backroom is where the real deals are being made. Again, I'm Joseph. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button because we are going to dive deeper into the metadata of those alibi photos and the specific history of the childhood friend in the next video. Comment below. Do you think a childhood friend moving in this fast is healing or hijacking? Let's talk.